It is Wednesday, the 30th of July, and this is episode 2 of the Beyond the Mat podcast. My name is Joshy Wrestling, guys. Episode number 2. That can only mean that we had a great episode number 1 if I'm here back for a second week of it. And can I just say, we really did have a great week 1. I would like to thank every single person who tuned in to the inaugural episode of the podcast. We had 160 plus views on that first episode alone across Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and also on video over on YouTube. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Seriously, thank you. 20 plus 5-star reviews across all of the platforms. People reaching out, messaging me, getting in touch, telling me how much they enjoyed the podcast. And it's things like that that really make me feel that this is necessary. This is something that will build us as a community. Today we have got some incredible questions, lots of questions. In fact, I'm going to try and get through as many of them as possible and make sure they all get adequate enough time. But once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I could not have asked for a better kick-off episode than 160 plus views and 20 plus 5-star ratings across all of the platforms. It really doesn't stop there. We've got a stacked episode again. The community has been fantastic, pulling through and sending a load more questions. But before we do get into it, if you wouldn't mind, wherever you are watching, I would really appreciate it if you could leave some love, whether that is a like on YouTube, whether that is leaving a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and then perhaps even dropping a comment underneath wherever you are watching. There should be a comment section as well. Let me know, give me some feedback, let me know what you think, whether it looks good, whether it sounds good, whether I'm talking rubbish, whether I'm talking sense. I want to know it all, because at the end of the day, we want to make this thing the best it can possibly be. And it is through your guys' feedback that we do that. I have got a few people to shout out, a couple of the ones who had left some great 5-star reviews. I said that if you leave a 5-star review on the podcast, I will make sure you get a shout out on this week's episode. I only know about the ones who have told me they've left 5 stars. Otherwise, I cannot see what names are behind the 5 stars. So if I do miss anyone, make sure you let me know and I will let you know. I will give the shout out on next week's episode. But the first initial shout outs will go to the following. We've got Matthew Miller. We've got Joe is tall 68. We've got Jack Edits. We've got Keith. Keith, I don't have a full username for you, but you know who you are, my friend. Mr. David 202. We got Luke on Wrestling, the Namph, Evo KD. Guys, we had so many great 5-star reviews last week. I appreciate it. That is not everybody. But if you do let me know if you've put them, because unfortunately I can't just see who has left 5-star reviews, let me know and I will give you a shout out on next week's episode. Again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. But let's get into some community questions. Okay, we're going to kick things off with Monday Night Raw, okay? I've just finished up watching Monday Night Raw. Overall, a pretty good show. It felt pretty quick this week. It did feel pretty quick. It was about 2 hours 20. Quite a few commercials. A couple of kind of key moments, because I do want to go into the questions rather than kind of just sitting on kind of the Monday Night Raw and SummerSlam stuff. We do have SummerSlam this in weekend, 2nd and 3rd. We'll get into that in a second. A couple of things from Monday Night Raw. AJ Styles pinning Dominic Mysterio. So AJ Styles teamed up with Karrion and Asuka to take on Dominic Mysterio and the Women's World Champions, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez. I thought this was a really good match. I thought this was a very good match. A lot of fun. Karrion performed an incredible flying elbow drop that AJ Styles kind of launched her with. It was so good. Very good. If you haven't seen the match, go and check that out. I think that was a very good match overall. But kind of what I was getting at here was AJ Styles pinning the champion. Now, this doesn't look good for AJ Styles because I am one who think that AJ Styles is going to win that match this coming weekend at SummerSlam, or at least I thought he would have. Seeing him take this win via the pin against Dominic Mysterio on a Monday Night Raw in a 6-person tag team match kind of makes me swerve my prediction a little bit. Now, I really do think that AJ Styles can do it. I think he deserves it. I don't think they've done enough with Dominic Mysterio personally. And I feel it is time for AJ Styles, for at least, whilst we know he's only got one more kind of year, 2 more kind of years in him. We know he's going to do 2 WrestleManias at least. I'd like to see him with one more run. I really would. Give him the belt and let him take the belt to Paris. Let him defend the belt against the John Cena. John Cena needs an IC title to become a Grand Slam champion. Does he get that? That's a completely different question. But a key moment for Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles pinning the champion. That was a huge question mark for me on whether or not he is going to take the belt this weekend at SummerSlam. Another shout out really goes to that World Tag match. Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro versus JD and Finn Balor for that Raw World Tag Team titles. I thought that was a very good match. The weird interference between El Grande Americano and also Dragon Lee, and then also that separate masked man. That was all a little bit strange. Nevertheless, the match was very enjoyable. I'll say it over and over again until they get their prop. The LWO, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde are very good. They always impress me. In fact, they never fail to impress me. They put on a fantastic job every time they are in that squared circle. And I personally want to see more of them. They could certainly be tag team champions. They really could. And they could really help elevate that world title scene on Raw, I believe. Friday Night SmackDown has got all the gas at the minute. They're getting a 6-pack challenge tag match for those tag team titles over at SummerSlam on Sunday. Monday Night Raw can get their tag division to that level. They can. They have the Usos, who they could absolutely put back together. They've got the New Day, who probably needs to go back to face, because I feel their heel run is kind of gone a little bit dry. You've got the LWO. You've got the Creed brothers. You've got the Judgment Day. You've got 5 or 6 really good tag teams. Not to mention on SmackDown as well that they've got tag teams who are injured or, they've got issues with it at the minute, such as Pretty Deadly over on SmackDown. When they come back, that SmackDown division is going to be overcrowded with tag teams. We could really split these 2 up and have 2 really good tag team divisions. That is definitely a topic for a different day, but they're just kind of 2 moments that I really wanted to touch on. Just while they were on the fresh end of the mind. And also the ending as well. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker coming out looking pretty strong going into SummerSlam as well. They're taking out Roman Reigns and Jey Uso in a segment that I thought went a little bit long. It felt like it kind of wasn't ending yet, or it wasn't going to end kind of soon. They were in and out of the ring for a little while. It was a bit of an awkward end. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought they looked dominant. Even going as far as taking Roman Reigns' shoes, I thought was pretty dominant, You don't let another man take your shoes. That's next level. That is really next level. And, I think that match going into that's what they needed. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker needed that moment to show that they could fight back, that they were the dominant ones, that they were the favorites going into that match. They're not going to be the favorites because of the names, but those 2, certainly as the bigger guys, should be the favorites going into that match. And I, for one, am very excited now. I think that arc last night on Monday Night Raw ending the show was something that added a lot of value to that match. More value than we thought it added to that match. Still, nevertheless, I do think Jey Uso and Roman Reigns will walk out of SummerSlam victors. I really do. I really do. But we're looking ahead now towards SummerSlam. 2 nights this weekend, August the 2nd, August the 3rd, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. It's a killer card. It really is a fantastic card from top to bottom. Night 1's got 6 matches. Night 2 has got 6 matches. Night 2 edges it. It's like a night of champions. Night 2 is going to be an incredible night. It really is. I think there's a lot of title changes coming. I think there are a lot of title changes. When you're looking at Jade Cargill, AJ Styles, who I've already kind of touched on. It's going to be a great card, and I think probably best of the year. If I was to put a prediction down right now, I think SummerSlam is going to be the best card of the year. And it's funny because last week on episode 1 of the podcast, we were talking, I how Evolution was probably up there to be one of the best of the year. Elimination Chamber to be one of the best of the year. You know, it was kind of only 4 matches. Nevertheless, WrestleMania Night 2, you know, all up until that main event was absolutely incredible. So I'm excited for SummerSlam. I'm excited to see it all unfold and see how good it really is. Because on paper, it's probably the best card of the year. It is probably the best card of the year. We've got that this weekend. 11 p.m. start time if you are in the UK, by the way. Make sure you've got that down in the calendar. You don't want to be rocking up at 1 in the morning and it not be live. You don't want to be rocking up and you're 2 hours deep into SummerSlam and you didn't even realize. 11 p.m. if you are in the UK. Let's get through a couple of questions. Ramirez099 is asking, what is my favorite match of all time from any company, past or present? Ramirez, I appreciate the question, my friend. It's a fantastic question, but it's a hard question. I don't know if I could give one singular answer to this because I feel again, like if you listen to the podcast last week, I've touched on moments that have got me into wrestling, and some of them would fall into kind of my favorite matches of all time. So I'm just going to give you a few, I guess. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. It's one of the most perfect matches of all time. Storytelling, pacing, psychology, the crowd was incredible. It for me feels like the perfect package. Everything coming together. 2 of the best in the world at the time. 2 absolute legends putting on an absolute clinic. People call it one of the best WrestleMania matches ever for a reason, and I think that is one of my favorite matches ever. Absolutely. What else have we got? Okada versus Kenny Omega. That one is up there from 2018. 2 out of 4s. Incredible. Bayley versus Sasha Banks. This is one that will shock a lot of people, but I just think it's such a huge moment. Brooklyn 2015 is such a huge moment in the history of the sport. That always goes down as kind of one that's always up there. And then, come on, Seth's my GOAT, man. There was no way we were going to ask these questions without talking Seth. Seth and Cody, Hell in a Cell, when Cody came out with the torn pec. Loved that match. One of my favorite matches of all time. Never mind, just Seth. I really love Seth versus AJ as well from Money in the Bank. A great match. Shawn Michaels versus John Cena. That one means so much to me, given kind of the time period growing up into wrestling. That was my first ever WrestleMania. So that match means a lot to me in terms of favorites. I apologize, I can't be direct with that. There are so many favorite matches that unfortunately it doesn't just kind of fall down to one, you know. Ramirez, thank you very much for the question. It was a fantastic question. It's a very tough one. Very tough one. I give props to anyone who can answer that question without giving 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, I really do, because that is a difficult question. It really is. Machine Panda is asking, if you could pick one match to erase from history, what would it be and why? Wow, there are a few. There are a few, but if I could think of number one, we're going to be talking Goldberg versus The Undertaker Super Showdown. That match needs to disappear from existence. One of the absolute worst matches of all time. And I hate to be so negative. I really hate to be so negative, but I want to make sure I answer the question. You asked the question. It was dangerous. It was unsafe. And it really diminished what was they're obviously still 2 legends of the sport, but at the time it did put a big frown on them, and it's still something that probably both of them are going to look back on and think, yeah, that wasn't great work, and so be it. You know, these things do happen, but this was a very rare low point for both athletes, in my opinion. I think they'll look back, but you know, honestly, it doesn't really tarnish anything either of those gentlemen did in their career. You know, Undertaker, for me, is on the Mount Rushmore. He really is. And Goldberg has got an incredible past as well. You know, these guys, I think because they held themselves at such a high level, would be disappointed in that match. And honestly, that's the one I would erase. Second one, Bray Wyatt versus Bray Wyatt, The Fiend versus Seth Rollins. And I hate to do this to my boy Seth, but I know it wasn't on him. Come on, Hell in a Cell. You know which match I'm talking. Hell in a Cell, the very awkward finish after Seth used the sledgehammer. Yeah, what was that about? Killing the Fiend's mystique. Not sure that was the best option for WWE, if I'm honest. It was very awkward. It was a little numbing. It was a little bit numbing in the sense of underwhelming. Like, is that it? Did that just happen? Why did that just happen? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one that I will never get my head around. I would never watch it back personally. I only need to see that match once to understand that needs to be erased from WWE history. Machine Panda sent a few questions, so I'm going to try and get through a few of them. I really do appreciate it. Storylines that are underrated or unjustly forgotten. That's a great question. That is a really good question. Not one that people ask often. Jeff Hardy and CM Punk back in 2009. That one just screams out to me for so many reasons. Like, these guys had their real life issues. They had great character work. There were a lot of like kind of moments where they could have just done so much more with it, in my opinion. And I don't really recall watching this live, but I've watched it back, and I've watched a lot of videos actually the creators have made on why they could have done more and how they could have done more. They just needed to do more, it's as simple as that. Both of them had fantastic personas, so why were we not using that to its full? We really should have executed on that, My favorite entrance theme of all time, it's always this Fire Burns. It always tends to go back to this Fire Burns, Kill Switch Engage. I absolutely love it. This Fire is a fantastic song. If I was a wrestler, I would be absolutely coming out to it. I love Stone Cold song, Basic Thugonomics, all incredible songs. Shinsuke Nakamura, actually, The Rising Sun. I put that one down. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. It was just, yeah, I mean, the crowd are on their feet. Another honorable mention would be Bobby Roode, Glorious. And to understand that perfectly, you have to be in the arena when that goes off. I was very fortunate to see Bobby Roode quite a few times in WWE before he got off. He's obviously in that executive role that he is in now, and he's doing an incredible job. But I saw him at Download Festival a few years ago, and I also saw him at a Friday Night SmackDown, so a couple of times, and hearing that kind of orchestra, hearing the kind of the crowd sing it, and the full theatrical experience of listening to that song live with the audio, with the lights, it's the full package. It's a really good experience. And unfortunately, not one we're ever going to experience again, but that one definitely goes up there. Chris Jericho's Judas, absolutely banger of a tune. It gets the people going. People love it. People love that song. I love that song. It's a song. I always find that the best songs are the ones you find yourself listening to when you are not watching wrestling. And Judas is in my playlist. I'll be skipping through. I'll have it on shuffle, maybe smart shuffle, and Judas will come on, and I'll have a great time singing Judas. I really enjoyed the song. Like I said, it's those songs that you don't need to be watching wrestling to hear and enjoy. I think they are the best songs that go down in history. In my opinion, favorite of all time, though, is this Firebird. It's such a banger. It's just such a banger. I also really like Cult of Personality as well, just not as much as this Fire. Kill Switch Engage, huge fan. Maybe a little bit biased towards them. Nevertheless, great song. And I hope that was a good few songs for you there. Because these what are your favorite questions are so hard. I know I touched on it before. I don't really have favorites. I mean, bar Seth, we know my love for Seth. But I mean that I've seen so much wrestling, I've heard so much wrestling, It really is hard to choose favorites. And I know people do. My friend Luke has top 10s for everything. His favorite Seth Rollins matches, his favorite Chris Jericho matches, his favorite Will Ospreay matches. And he's very good at understanding what his top 10 are. I couldn't do that. I could give you 10. I could give you 10 matches that I absolutely love, but I don't think I could rank them. It's a hard task, and it is one that I do not envy and have a lot of appreciation for people who can do those kind of things. Which wrestler do you think could have been bigger star if the company had given them more push or time? The answer for this one is probably Cesaro, also now known as Claudio Castelloni in AEW. He's doing a great job in AEW. I wish he was doing a little bit more in AEW. He's currently with the Death Riders with Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. He is someone in WWE who had it all. He could have been a multi-time world champion. We know he was a tag team champion, United States champion, but he really could have gone on to be a world champion. He had the full package, in my opinion. Fantastic wrestler, real hard hitter of a wrestler. He seemed to do everything the company would ask of him, whether that is teaming up with Sheamus or whether that's singles stuff. The Sheamus stuff was fantastic, by the way. I absolutely loved all that stuff that he did. I just wish he did more, and I really do think that in ring, he was unmatched. I think he had decent mic skills, and people really got behind him. I thought that the crowds absolutely loved him. I was a huge Cesaro fan, but unfortunately just never got that main event push that I believe that he truly did deserve. Zack Ryder, obviously Matt Cardona now going and doing some incredible things on the indie scene. Some would call him the indie god, but that is very much up to discretion. Shotzi has also been saying that she is to the indie god. They did scrap it out. I believe Shotzi won that match. Please correct me if I am wrong. So I believe she would now be the indie god. But yeah, Zack Ryder was absolutely a missed opportunity. He got himself over organically, and it felt like he kind of got punished for that. And I feel he's been slightly done hard by a little bit. I think what I'm not keen on now with Matt is how much he talks about WWE. You know, there hasn't been any opportunities where WWE have tried to bring him back. And I think if they did bring him back, there's obviously a big opportunity there. But what he's currently doing on the indie scene is incredible. He's making his own money. He's doing his own merch. He's pushing himself. He's branding himself. He's marketing himself. He's doing all of the right things. He knows how to get over organically. He's doing great on the indie scenes. Would he benefit more from being in WWE right now? Probably not. Like, he is doing his best work outside of WWE, in my opinion. So why would he need to change that? And get someone else underutilized, but more utilized now that she's in AEW, Toni Storm. Toni Storm, I think you could have give WWE 99 opportunities to get timeless Toni Storm, and I just don't think they would have came up with it. I think AEW have been fantastic in rebranding that Toni Storm character. They've done a fantastic job. Toni Storm is probably the most kind of is the biggest star in AEW, in my opinion. You know, you've got a lot of big names, but Toni Storm in recent time has brought in a lot of fans to AEW. Apologies. And I think she's doing a very, very good job. She's the current AEW Women's World Champion. She just defeated Mercedes Moné at AEW All in Texas. Incredible card. We did touch a little bit on that last week. But I don't think Toni Storm was right in that WWE. What she's doing now, she would absolutely not be able to do in WWE. Just with how WWE run and stuff, she would not be able to be timeless Toni Storm, what she's doing right now over there. And that's why AEW is the best place for her, without a doubt. I think she was underutilized in WWE. They didn't really do much with her, but then I don't think she got to the opportunity where they were going to do much with her. You know, she was the NXT UK Women's Champion for a little bit, but that was kind of the ceiling, I believe. That was probably the ceiling for her, kind of in there, you know. Luke on Wrestling, we were literally just talking about you, my friend. Thoughts on Jelly Roll and how he may do in his match at SummerSlam. Jelly Roll apparently has been putting in the effort, and at least if you don't agree with a celebrity coming into WWE, firstly, this has kind of gone off on its own tangent. We need to remember that the E in WWE is World Wrestling Entertainment. We are going to see celebrities get involved with the WWE. And this isn't targeted. This is stuff that I've just kind of seen online. So people asking about kind of these celebrities coming in and are they going to be good enough and how dare they step into a WWE ring when they've never done it. I mean, Travis Scott is an exception. He should absolutely stay away from WWE incredibly as far away as possible. On the other hand, Bad Bunny had an incredible match in Puerto Rico against Damian Priest. So we can't rule out the celebrities until they've happened because Bad Bunny, very, very good. We have had some great celebrities in the past come in, look very good, perform very well. They've obviously put in a lot of time and effort. And apparently Jelly Roll has done just that. Apparently Jelly Roll is in the Performance Center many times a week. He's dropped loads of weight for the first time in, I'm not sure how many years he said, but the first time in a long time, he is under 300 pounds in weight. That's incredible. That is sensational. If he is saying 10 plus, 15 plus years, he has not been under 300 pounds. He's now decided to dedicate all of his time and effort into something, and that being performing at SummerSlam to team up with Randy Orton to take on Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Then so be it. I'm excited to see Jelly Roll. I think on the mic he's been super natural. Like, very good on the mic. I was pleasantly surprised at how good he was. He had some chats with Paul Heyman, I heard as well. I think he said that when he was talking to Stephanie McMahon on her podcast. He said he had some great chats with the Wise Man. The Wise Man told him he is a natural on the mic and he has come in a lot better than most have. Now we just got to see him put the wrestling to use. I'm excited to see it. Nevertheless, could we be doing something better with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre? Like a singles match, we absolutely could. But it's SummerSlam. It's already stacked. It's the hottest party of the summer. And I, for one, am kind of excited for this match. If Jelly Roll is willing to give it his all, get under 300 pounds, be in the PC 5, 6, 7 times a week, then I, for one, am happy and great, happy and willing to accept that's what he wants to do. If he comes out and it's an absolute stinker, then fair enough. Maybe let's not do that again. But the man wants to get in the ring. Let's do it. Let's do it. He's in there with veterans. He is in there with absolute veterans. Logan Paul as well, who is a star. Whether you hate him or you love him, he is a fantastic wrestler, super athletic. So I don't think much can go wrong in that match. But nevertheless, I'm quite excited for it. It's going to go down. Mark Moran is asking, what's my favorite Seth Rollins moment? So me and Mark are both Seth Rollins fans. Mark, that's his favorite as well. Mark says that his favorite is seeing him in Dublin, albeit that is when Seth Rollins did get injured. Nevertheless, that is his favorite moment because he saw it live. Absolutely cannot dispute that. Seeing Seth Rollins live, something of which I have not done yet, by the way, and it's looking slimmer and slimmer by the day. Unless he cashes in this weekend, I'm going to Paris at the end of the month for Clash in Paris. I am also going to the Monday Night Raw following on from that. If you are there, pop over, say hello. That would be really, really cool. To answer the question, though, my favorite Seth Rollins moment comes do you know what? I feel like it's the super obvious one. It's the one that everyone says, but it's a big moment. It's a big moment. Heist of the Century, March the 29th, 2015, WrestleMania 31. That man comes down after a match with Randy Orton earlier in the night where he was the victim of one of the nastiest, maybe the best RKO that I have ever seen in my life, by the way. Maybe the best. I mean, he goes for the curb stomp. Randy Orton kind of propels him off of his back, catches him with the RKO. It was incredible. One probably is my favorite. Probably is the best as well. But later on in that night, he cashes in on the World Heavyweight Championship match, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match that is going on between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Those two have been feuding for a little while. The belt was on the line. Seth Rollins cashes in and makes it a triple threat match. There are so many elements to that make that my favorite moment, from the crowd pop to Seth absolutely charging down to the ring, to to the big backdrop in the back. It was incredible. It was incredible. The stadium went absolutely bonkers. 67,000 in the Levi Stadium, by the way, in California. If there was anywhere that I wish I could be during a particular match, or if there was a match that I would like to be at, it would have been that moment right there. If I was in the stadium with the other 67,000 in California that night, Levi Stadium, yeah, it's that right there is my favorite moment of all time. And then to top it off, when he's walking back with the belt and he's throwing it over his head, oh, that is perfection. That for me is the greatest Seth Rollins moment of all time. But he's got a few. He has got a few. He's got a lot of great matches, man. The Royal Rumble triple threat match with Cena and Lesnar. The WrestleMania 34 IC title match with Finn Balor and The Miz. There are some. I have a few. I do have a few. Like I said, with all of these, they're hard to judge. But if I do have a favorite, it is the WrestleMania 31 moment, because that moment I don't think will ever be topped unless he does it this weekend at SummerSlam, because that man is telling us he's injured. A lot of people saying he's not injured. I'm just saying. A lot of people saying he's not injured. They think that it is a work. Jack, aka Jack Edits 10, has got a couple of great questions. Let's get into them. Jack asks, what wrestler would you swap from AEW to WWE? For me, it's gotta be either Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega. Now, I wouldn't want to say who I'd want to trade over. I'm trying to think who I would bring over if I was WWE in charge right now. I mean, one of the matches or a couple of matches that I forgot to mention before when it came to dream matches would have been Seth Rollins versus Will Ospreay or Seth Rollins versus Kenny Omega. I would absolutely love to see both of them come over to WWE. I'd love to see MJF in WWE properly. I don't think he'd probably get away with as much. I think he would be paid a whole lot of money to be in the WWE. I know that they're going to be having to write big checkbooks if they're going to take on MJF. But it'd be between them three. I mean, if I was going to choose one, kind of Kenny Omega's kind of coming to the end, it'd probably be Will Ospreay now. In all honesty, it'd probably be Will Ospreay that would take. There's a lot of fantastic matches that they can make. A lot of very, very good matches that they can make with Will Ospreay. I mean, can we just think of a few for a minute? I mean, so Seth, obviously. Roman Reigns and Will Ospreay. Jey Uso, Bron Breakker, and Will Ospreay. You know, you've got some high flyers as well. You've absolutely got some high flyers as well. I mean, Finn Balor versus Will Ospreay under the WWE banner. AJ Styles and Will Ospreay under the WWE banner. Will Ospreay wants that match still, by the way. So if they're ever going to get it, they've either got to do it in WWE or... Because I can't see AJ Styles going anywhere after his contract ends. So it would have to be in WWE, and I don't think Will's ever going to jump ship. But we can fantasy book. We can have fun with it at least. I'd love to see that match. I would love to see Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, or MJF make the switch, Jack. I really would. I really, really would. He also asked, what are our favorite wrestling moves? I've got a few. I am a sucker for a good spear. Bronson Reed spear, best in the business, probably the best I've ever seen. That spear absolutely eats through people. I love the ones when he's running down the ramp, like they're always the nastiest. The one he did on ISHO Speed was obviously crazy, but the element of the weight that ISHO Speed was kind of probably didn't help him, probably didn't go in his favor. I also love a Poison Rama, and we don't get many of these very often in the WWE. We do get a lot in AEW. I love the move so much. The Poison Rama, if you don't know what that is, it's going to be hard to describe. Have a little YouTube. There are some great ones. Jey Uso's done it a couple of times, but it never looks great because I think he's just like a little bit too big for it. I can't really make out what the issue is with it. What other moves have we got? I'm a sucker for a super kick. I think I'm a traditionalist. Canadian Destroyer or Mexican Destroyer. Huge fan of those moves. The Pop Rocks, I guess, is a variation of that. Yeah, so many favorite wrestling moves. So many favorites. If there's one thing that we have established from this episode alone is it's hard to have favorites in wrestling. It is really hard to have favorites in wrestling. It really is. It really, really is. We've got a couple more questions kind of before we close this out. MP asked me last week, and I was unfortunately not able to kind of get into these, but I guess I've kind of answered them, but I do want to acknowledge them. Was there a particular match or moment that got you into wrestling, or moment that got me into wrestling? Pretty much everything I said last week around growing up with my cousin and watching it and playing the games, and also kind of with other family members. I attended a Monday Night Raw with my dad back in the Omega versus John Cena days. I would create paper belts. So many moments that I cherish. I keep them locked in the. I say locked, but I'm sat here talking about them. But yeah, a lot of really fantastic moments and memories in my life with a lot of different people in terms of getting into wrestling. There's also memories with my mom, watching TNA with her, you know, my dad, my cousin, my family in general. And now as I'm here, I'm watching the girlfriend now absolutely love wrestling. Like I am just so honored and cherished to have this big bubble of family and loved ones that now love wrestling, and we talk about it all the time. It's just an additional thing for us all to kind of bond over, and you know, all that good stuff. It really, really is the coolest thing in the world. It really is. He also asked, what superstar has the biggest what-if career? They have potentials, but injuries, maybe some bad booking. Honestly, for me, this is going to be Mr. Kennedy, a.k.a. Mr. Anderson, depending on when you've seen him, Ken Anderson. You know, could have been WWE champion, could have been world champion. He seemed destined to be. He had the mic skills, kind of very much similar to LA Knight at the minute, but they just not able to pull through without injuries, unfortunately. And that is unfortunately what did take out Mr. Kennedy. It sucks. I think another one, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is someone that they don't seem to pull the trigger with right now. And I'm not sure what the issue is. I'm not sure why they won't pull the trigger on him. Make him a world champion. Make him a world champion with a long and established reign, with wins under his belt that mean something. Significant wins, you know, significant wins. Wade Barrett, he was the leader of the Nexus. You know, he had great presence. The crowd loved him. The crowd loved the bad news stuff. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Bad news, Barrett. One fantastic creative moment. It is what I think that was right there. So, to name a few, Mr. Kennedy, Drew McIntyre, Wade Barrett, you know, names there that probably won't. Drew's got time. Drew still has time. But the other two, I feel like they were huge what-ifs in the wrestling business. To be fair, you know, both guys went on to do really great things. Ken Anderson has his own podcast. And obviously, Wade Barrett is one of the best commentators in the game right now, if you ask me. One of the best color commentators. He says what he sees. He has the knowledge to back it. I think he is one of the best in the world right now across all promotions. He's always great to listen to. He knows what he's talking about. He's very informative. And I think he's a great addition to whichever brand he's on. He's currently on with Joe Tessitore at the minute, but he's been doing some PLEs as well. And I'm always impressed with how good he is. Always impressed. We've got some great commentators in the entire game at the minute, across AEW, across WWE. Yeah, it's really good to see. It's really, really good to see. WWE are not shy of having this much talent. To be fair, they've got they've got 4 promotions now, if we include Evolve as well. MP, thank you very much for the question, my friend. It is a great question. Guys, if you've got any questions for next week's episode, make sure you do let me know. You can send me a message, or you can pop them in the Discord server as well. Make sure you do leave a 5-star review as well. And also let me know you've done that, because I cannot see who's done that until it has been done, unfortunately. And I do want to make sure that people do get their props, because I appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate it. I'm sorry if I've missed anyone out in terms of comments or any questions or any of all that good stuff. But please know I do appreciate it, and to get everything over to me for next week's episode. I record these on a Tuesday, so it's kind of a deadline by Tuesday to get questions and stuff over to me. But as always, guys, I appreciate you dropping into the episode 2, the second episode of the Beyond the Mat podcast. I appreciate you all so much. Do me a favor if you could. Hit that like button wherever you are watching. This has been episode 2 of the Beyond the Mat, and I will see you all for next episode number 3.